Thank you. Welcome to our witnesses. I'd like to ask each of you about a Russian proposal to have the United States and Russia make a political commitment to abide by the central limits of the New START treaty for 1 year. Hypothetically, if I told you Russia was already uploading and busting through that central limit and its caps, how would that affect the advice you might provide to the President on whether to take this Russian offer? We'll start with you, Admiral Richard.
Senator, first, we don't know for sure that they're not already doing that. Probably not, might. No verification mechanism in place for us to know one way or the other. I think fundamentally, agreeing to an additional year constrains us relative to China and the actions that we need to be taking in the very near term to address that threat while providing us little benefit with Russia.
All right, Admiral, or Ambassador, sorry.
I'd love to be an admiral, Senator. Thank you for your question. I really do believe that the Russians have the ability to upload very rapidly. We spoke about this, concluded in the Strategic Posture Commission report. My whole view of keeping the U.S. and Russia under New START limits for the coming year is to prevent them from sprinting away from us in an upload campaign. So I do think we have to watch carefully, use our national technical means to determine if we can, if they are uploading, but that's been my view, that we need to prevent their rapid upload now.
Thank you.
Senator, as you know, there is already a serial pattern of non-compliance, so I would not be surprised if Russia was doing that. And I already believe it's a bad idea without that information to extend the treaty for 1 year.
Okay. Mr. Morrison, let's stick with you. President Trump announced, rightly in my opinion, late last year that the United States would resume nuclear testing activity on par with Russia and China. We know from statements from Lieutenant General Ashley and CIA Director Ratcliffe that both Russia and China have conducted non-historical tests that exceed the zero-yield standard of the United States, the United Kingdom, and France. President Trump's critics claim that it's not necessary for the U.S. to conduct such a test. What do you think Russia and China could be gaining from conducting yield-producing tests?
Senator, there's two issues at the heart of the debate over nuclear testing. One, does the current U.S. nuclear stockpile require it for credibility? And two, why are Russia and China doing it if they are doing it? It's that second question, and what we may not know, and if we do know, likely can't talk about in this environment, that causes me the most concern, not because of the credibility of our deterrent, but the risk of strategic surprise.
You don't think Russia and China is just doing it for fun, do you?
Senator, I assume that's rhetorical, but no, I don't think they're doing it for fun. It would no doubt be a significant expenditure of resources on their part.
Okay. Admiral Richard, you'd like to take a crack at that one?
Well, and I certainly endorse the idea that we should be testing to the level that Russia and China are doing. And I also go back to my recommendations back when I was on active duty several years ago, that we need to improve our overall test readiness should conditions change, either technical or political, that warrants us considering that.
Okay. Admiral, given the growing nuclear threat environment, now without the bounds of the New START treaty, there's many steps we could take. These might include remerving our ICBM forces, reconverting tubes on SSBNs, reconverting heavy bombers, developing a suite of non-strategic weapon systems, and making sure that NNSA is changing the way it does business in a more rapid and streamlined manner. If you were asked to provide options to the President what to do in this new environment, what would be your top priorities?
Senator, I'd go right down the list that you just offered, but it would start with, I would put the highest priority actually on removing the 4 missile tube covers on our Trident submarines and returning them to 24 tubes, vice 20, uploading intercontinental ballistic missiles, remerving up to the appropriate point. And again, I would just go down the list that you just described.
Okay. Thank you all for your testimony.